Welcome to this new adventure into the cultural history of the Nuer people of South Sudan. I'm Nyariel, or Sharon Hutchinson, your host. Today I'd like to look at a very interesting concept of wealth that was very much used among the Nuer of South Sudan through the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, and I don't know, perhaps it's still being used today. But the concept is called the money of cattle. Now, this is not any ordinary money. This is the money that one would receive if you took a family-owned cow, from the family herd. That cow, the original cow, perhaps is an ox. There may be many people who have rights in that cow, directly or indirectly, even though the head of the household might control it in many ways, but it's a collectively owned cow. Perhaps it came from somebody's bride wealth, marrying off of a daughter or sister way back, or perhaps it will be used in the future. That cow was not an individually owned. So if you take that cow and then you take it to market to sell it, and ideally you would sell it to buy maybe 2 cow calves or something else which you could then bring home to help increase the herd. Well, anyway, once you sell it, you receive money, and that money is the money of cattle. And people will keep that, or did keep that money, very separate from other types of money while it was in a money state. So money of cattle is unique. Because it can carry all the collective rights that were held in the original cow into the marketplace, be sold. All those rights stay in the money that the cow was sold for, and then that money should be turned into another, perhaps younger cow calves to increase the herd and bring them back. So it was a way of people to exchange cattle through the market without losing all of the collective rights and the collectivity of those rights in the cow as it shifted maybe from an ox to maybe 2 female cattle. And what I'd like to share with you is the fact that people kept this money quite separate from other types of money, particularly separate from a type of money called yolat. Now, yolat is literally the money of work. And the money of work is associated with individual wealth. Somebody who did something through their own sweat, that's the idea, to earn this money. Perhaps it's a salary you earn as a government employee. Perhaps you're a woman who had some grain that they bought and they turned into beer and then sold the beer. That money would be yolat. Perhaps you're a young man and you went fishing and you sold some of your fish in the market, or you caught a buck or crocodile and sold the hide in the market. That too would be individual money. And the idea is that money is lighter, fuele, than the money of cattle. Why? You could, in principle, use it for anything. People can try to beg it off you. If you have a relative who comes to town and you have a government salary, they say, oh, please give me some money for beer. Now that relative, he may have in his or her pocket a lot of money from a cow that he or she just sold in the marketplace. But that's the cattle of money, and that person would never ever think of using it to buy beer or something else. It's literally kept separate. So the system, of course, worked well in the sense that it helped maintain collective rights and people's collective rights in cattle, and thus in some ways preserve the cattle-centered lifestyle and economy of the Nuer people throughout those decades. But it didn't work so well for the poor people who were maybe government employees or earn their salary through individual money, the money of lat, because they could be begged and harassed to give it to their relatives. So that is just one of many types of Nuer wealth, actually 2, ɣɔɔk, money of cattle, and yolat, the money of work, which the Nuer have over the decades developed to try to integrate or weave together their understanding of the market as they became more exposed to it, and wage labor, and their beloved cattle, which are the only ones that you have to realize that actually give dividends in this world. I mean, you think about it, there is no way that the newer people of South Sudan, even today, have any knowledge or exposure to the idea that money can itself make interest. All they've experienced decade after decade is a constant dwindling of the power of money. It's inflation, devaluations, everything like that. But cattle, to this day, and in goats and sheep, they can reproduce. So they are the interest-bearing, expanding source of wealth in this culture to this day. I thought you might enjoy learning about that. Ask your parents, ask around, see if I'm right. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm Yariel. Stay well.